Wow, oh crap. Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Okay, there we go. My phone holder thingy just kind of had a problem. See if we can get it adjusted. There we go. Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. Let me make sure I've got a piece of paper to write down all your names. And I got Emerald and Tammy so far. Yay, welcome, guys. So, if you are new here, what we do is, for the first 6 people who write yes in the comments, they get a 1-card reading with the medicine card deck. And if you're not familiar with the deck, it's similar to like a tarot deck, but it's working with the totem animals rather than the archetypes and such. So all you need to do is say yes in the comments, and if you're one of the first 6 people to do so, you will get a free 1-card reading. And if we fill up, actually the last few weeks have been kind of shortened because we've only had a few people. I think a lot of people are out enjoying the weather or trying to stay cool. I was down by the river for a few hours this afternoon trying to stay cool. Hey, Sarah. Awesome. So we have 3 so far. And hi, Valerie. Too far. Awesome. All right. Oh, okay, Deb. Sage. Do you want a card, Sage? There's only 4 people so far. Then you'll have something to look forward to watch the rerun. Let me know. All right, so again, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and we are going to pull cards. Of course, this video is totally free, no obligations. Hi, Anna. All right, and my only request is that you would please share the video. If you want to share it on your own page or on a friend's page or tag someone in the comments, please share the love. I like helping as many people as I possibly can. Oh, that's right, Emerald, you had the breathwork thing tonight. That's intense. All right, so I think that's all I need to say in preparation. Let me take another sip. Make sure you're hydrating. You made it, Valerie made it to breathwork. Yay! My hair is a mess. I've been sweating and trying to nap, and so I didn't have a chance to pretty myself up for you guys, but I hope that's okay. I'm a wild savage shaman. All right, so getting on with it. Emerald, you are number 1. Okay. I was supposed to do a sweat lodge this coming Wednesday at my friend's place, but she canceled because of the heat. And I'm like, I don't need a sweat lodge. I am so sweating out all my stuff just sitting here. So anyway, Amaral, card number 1. All right, Amaral, card number 1 is dog in reverse. I know I don't always remember from one week to the next, but I remember something last time about kind of a renewal, rebirth. Basically your life was getting unplugged and plugged back in again. So dog in reverse is dog is well, of course, about loyalty, right? And it's about prioritizing your loyalty, right? It's like dog has probably the biggest heart of any animal in the animal kingdom. And that's where their loyalty comes from, right? And it's like, if you've had a dog, if you know a dog, you know that they are just unconditional love. They are love embodied. And that love, I know this is kind of cliched and blah, 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 but love has to start with yourself, right? And so and I feel weird saying these things because I know you know these things already. But it's like, really make sure that every action is coming from your heart. That you're checking in before making decisions, before like anything. Like, I learned from one teacher a long time ago, and I tend to forget these things until it comes up in a reading, but send love wherever you're going. Like, if you're going out somewhere, send love ahead of you to the restaurant or to the theater. Or if you're going to go for a walk in the woods, send love to the woods. Ask permission to actually walk in the woods, and then thank the woods for allowing you to be there. And then when you're on your way home, send love home before you get there, so that love is waiting for you. And it's kind of like when you do that, you have to realize that love is coming, that you are the source of that love, right? You are sending that love. It's coming from you. So that is your own love, your own heart greeting you at your door. Right. And so I don't know if any of that makes sense. But it's really like dog in reverse is kind of a need for that self-love to make sure that you're not focusing especially on like the people around you, right? Like trying to fit in or trying to get someone to like you or to accept you, right? Um, it's really getting to love yourself. And then from that love, rather than having to chase people or chase things, the people that are your tribe, that are your family, show up because of the resonance, right? And then when that happens, because you're coming from a place of love and wholeness, the people you draw to you, especially in your inner circle, are the people that you can trust because they are whole and complete in themselves. So they're not there for some ulterior motive. They're not there to siphon away your power or your energy. They are there because as you have drawn them into your life, they have drawn you into their life. It's like a mutual attraction kind of thing. The other thing I want to say about dog is, dogs, okay, I was going to say one thing and then my guys popped in. Dogs are guardians, right? All canids are guardians, territorial of some manner. In fact, that's part of the reason that humans domesticated dogs in the first place was to be their lookouts, to be their guardians. And especially at a time where your whole life is recalibrating and revamping, make sure that you're holding to your boundaries. Make sure that you're keeping your guard up, not as protection from all the things that don't want to eat you, but just to make sure that you're guarding that perimeter, okay? Perfect. You're only allowing heart connections. Anything else letting go, that's perfect, And the other thing, depending on the species of dog, right? Dogs need jobs. Hire a dog today. But a lot of dogs, if they don't have a specific job, like guardian, like guarding your property, guarding your door, or whatever it is, they will get depressed just like people do. And so another thing to keep in mind as all these shifts are taking place is to make sure that you're staying on track. Not that you have to be fervently and, religiously making sure every step is the right path, but more in lines of having that North Star so that you have your bearings, so that you can make sure that's your job, is to steer yourself toward that future, that manifestation, that North Star, whatever it is. But make sure like every day to kind of check your bearings and make sure that you're still going on track. Not that you can ever truly go off track, right? Just like a GPS, rerouting, you get off track, it's like rerouting and brings you back. So, but just to make sure that, I think part of it's about tracking. Dogs are great trackers too. So make sure that you're getting traction, that you are making noticeable progress, by setting like daily or weekly goals. Nothing stringent, nothing, like it's not going to be a big sin if you don't make it, but just give yourself goalposts to aim for, right? And then so that you can keep, it's important to make sure that you are making traction, that you feel the progress. Okay. Oh, you've got a couple of schnauzers? I have a friend that's got 3 of them. No, not schnauzers. She has the wiener dogs. I was thinking schnauzers. That's German. But yeah. So keep. Okay, and even it's like trust your heart and trust your intuition, because like dogs, you know, like when they're sleeping, the slightest noise is like they're poof, fully awake, right? So trust your intuition and the abilities of your intuition, that until something, you know, until there's a bump in the night, or until there's some kind of threat or some unknown sound or whatever, that you can relax. You don't have to be hypervigilant. You can relax because you can trust your own senses. You can trust your inner senses to warn you. They bark when a tree leaf falls. So they might be a little extra, you know, high strung, but just take care of yourself. Make sure that you know you're being the guardian of your own parameters, so that as you're growing, as you're in the kind of caterpillar soup stage, where you're not fully formed yet, that's like the most important time to make sure that you're not getting interference from others, and that your boundaries are being respected. So I hope that helps. Sounds like that's kind of on track, exactly where you are. All right, so card number 2 for Tammy. Awesome. I'm glad that resonated, Emerald. All right. Okay, for Tammy, card number 2, we got Rabbit in reverse. So this kind of fits. I posted something earlier today on my Facebook with a quote from Abraham Hicks about how you never need to protect yourself against something else, because by doing that you are basically creating that which you need to be protected from. And this kind of fits that. And Tammy responded to that, and I responded back. But it's interesting that this comes up, because it's kind of similar to that. And it's, you know, that I've told this story before. I know you've heard this story, but, you know, Rabbit's hopping down the woodland path one day. An eagle flies over, and Rabbit is so scared that he starts yelling, "Eagle, I'm so afraid, don't come and eat me." And the eagle didn't hear him, so he jumps up on a stump, starts jumping up in the air, waving his little paws. "Eagle, don't come eat me, I'm really afraid of you." And as I was doing that, my bunny jumped off of I've got my little printer over here. This is butterscotch. day. So he was illustrating the story. So the second time when he's waving his arms and yelling even louder, Eagle hears him, just swings down and eats the rabbit. And so it's like focus on, I mean, this is basic law of attraction, like to focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Let's see, I was going to say, like, for instance, I'm having some car trouble recently. And over the weekend, I was getting really upset and really freaked out because I don't really have a regular mechanic. And when I take my car in, I'm kind of at the mercy of whoever's there. And I, don't know for sure who I can trust. And so it usually is a lot more expensive than I expect it to be. And so I'm going through all of these things about money and trust and my car. What do I do about my car? And I think I know what's wrong with it. It might be something I can fix, but it might not be that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just getting myself all riled up. And I was putting all this energy into the hamster wheel of confusion. And then this morning, it occurred to me, what do I really want? I want a reliable car. I want my car to be able to run when I need it to run. And so that's what I'm focusing on. That story is not quite over yet because I'm still working on it. But so far today, I was able to drive my car and start my car and without needing a jump. Well, I had to jump start it to begin with. But then once I got it going, I was able to go out and come back and start it again and go out and come back and start it. So at least short term, I'm manifesting my car that is reliable. And I'm going to focus on making it so that, how do I put it? I'm manifesting a reliable car, whether that's my car or a whole new car or whatever. And so instead of focusing on all the what ifs and the complications and the logistics, it's like, what do I want? And like years ago when I was working at this warehouse, it was right after 9/11, and I had a coworker who was originally from Texas. He was a real Republican, and he noticed, like I was in shipping and receiving, and we would pack boxes to ship out to customers. And so we would pack them with newspapers and such. And I didn't have time to read the newspapers while I was working. So sometimes I would see a headline or an article that I wanted to read. So I would put it over on my desk to read later and go back to packing. And one of those times, my coworker saw the newspaper on my desk with the headlines. And it was something, it wasn't blatantly anti-Bush, who was the president at the time, but it was kind of liberal, and he looked at me, it's like, do you not believe in our president, or something like that? He said something like that. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I basically went into, like, it's not that I just think there's a better way of doing things. I believe that, that was a kind of a weird thing to go into. But anyway, the crux of the situation was that from that point on, because he knew I wasn't 100% behind President Bush, that I was more liberal and thought everyone should be free, everyone should be happy, that he started like sabotaging me in the warehouse and actually threatening me. And I used to go out on my lunch break and I would nap I had a pickup truck at the time, and I would nap and I would just kind of lay across the front seat, my head against the door, my hair would hang out the window. And the one time he's like, next time I see you napping on your lunch break, I'm going to sneak up on you with my scissors, I'm going to cut your hair. And it freaked me out. I mean, it probably was just a bunch of hot air, but that was an actual threat. And I kept like, kept trying to figure out what can I do to protect myself? What can I do to make him stop? What can I do to, better him, or whatever. And I realized at one point, all I want is peace. What do I really want? All of this miasma of conflict and confusion, what do I want? What is it that I really want? I wanted peace. And so I put that, it's like, I don't care what happens. I don't want to get the better of him. I don't want him to be humiliated. I don't want to fight him. I just want peace. And I swear to you, I made that declaration and that decision in the morning. I went to lunch, took my nap in my truck, came back, and found out that coworker had left on his lunch, and he just never came back. And so that's how powerful it is. And that's why they sometimes say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Because that hell yes has that enthusiasm behind it. It has that spark, which is basically spirit, nudging you or drawing you forward, right? And so, whenever especially when you're like going through the conflict and the confusion, rabbit in reverse is kind of the same as like a deer in the headlights, right? And if rabbit stops moving, if rabbit just freezes, he's dinner, right? His whole defense is on being able to run. They're so fast and they zigzag when they run. But if they're sitting still, they're dinner. So, number one, keep moving. Don't freeze up. And like someone I knew used to say that a car is easier to steer when it's moving than when it's sitting still, right? And just keep that GPS idea in mind. Like if you're moving, like a lot of times, if you've got your GPS, I turn on my GPS and I'm just sitting there, I can't get I don't get the right directions at least, because the GPS doesn't know which direction I'm moving in, because I'm staying in one place, right? And it's not until I start moving that the map actually clicks into place and the GPS can start telling me where to go, right? And so there's no wrong decisions, there's no wrong direction, just keep moving. And know that whichever direction you're moving in can be rerouted to the best and easiest path to what you need. The other thing with rabbit, I keep the word stagnant keeps coming up. It's kind of like, because rabbit Rabbit is all about springtime, right? Easter, the quickening of nature, the sap starts rising, the animals start waking up from their hibernation, and the plants start budding. It's like new life. And in reverse, it can have that feeling of stagnation, of things just aren't growing, or kind of like in the late fall, where all the green, like the grass, the fields, all that was green in the springtime is now yellow and kind of burnt, and it's that feeling of, oh my God, right? That with the heat, the dog days of summer, and so so when things are, okay, give me a second. I'm trying to tune into this. It's okay to regroup. It's okay to start over. And again, like with that idea of stagnation, just movement keeps things fresh, right? Like when they have ponds and water features in different places, and they have like the bubbler or like the fountain, and the only job of the fountain is to keep the water moving so it doesn't stagnate, right? And so keep moving, keep stirring the pot, even if you're not going anywhere. And what's really interesting, what just popped into my head as I was saying that, keep stirring, that in, I think it's Japan, rather than seeing the man in the moon, they see the rabbit. If you look at the full moon, you can see the silhouette of a rabbit with a mortar and pestle. And it's like the rabbit is doing these magic potions. Look that up. There's actually stories about that, about the rabbit on the moon. And it's kind of witchy, and the rabbit is like creating magic potions and herbs, and Valerie, you don't have to tell her to stir the pot. But yeah, so you've seen a few stagnant things already. Yeah, look it up, Tammy. It's really cool. But just keep moving. You're always stirring the pot. And just remember that rabbit is all about creativity, right? Fecundity and fertility and new life. And so it's kind of like again, with that question about protection and what to focus on, rather than focus on what's dying, focus on what's being born, what new life and creativity is happening. And how do you take yesterday's compost to fertilize today's new thoughts and new directions, right? And be the rabbit on the moon, stirring up your magic potions and everything. So and focus on what you want. Figure out what it is you want and just focus on it. And like rabbit, you may not go straight for it. You might zigzag, but every zigzag is towards something else that is getting you closer to that thing that you want. Okay? So there you go. I hope that's helpful. All right. Sarah. Card number 3. You're welcome. You're welcome, Tammy. I hope that's helpful. All right. Card number 3 for Sarah. For some reason, saying your name, Sarah, makes me want to watch Serendipity again. That might be a good one to watch because it's kind of a Christmassy one and there's snow. That might be good to help cool me off. All right. All right, Sarah, everything's coming up reverse tonight, which isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. But Sarah, you got Deer in reverse. Deer is about compassion, and especially self-compassion. It's about giving yourself grace. And it's about those. So there's a story that I tell about deer that I love the story. That one day, Great Spirit invited all the woodland creatures to the top of his mountain and to celebrate what a glorious day it was and to celebrate life. But there was a troll that lived at the base of his mountain, and none of the animals dared to come to face the troll, except for little Deer, because Deer was so excited to go party with Great Spirit. She comes bounding along, gets to the base of the mountain, and the troll jumps out and roars in her face. And rather than rearing up to fight him or running away, she just kind of cocked her head, looked him in the eyes, and said, why are you so angry? What did someone do to you to make you so angry and so hurt? And the troll, who survived on conflict and resistance, getting neither of those things from Deer, just faded away. And so Deer, by doing the namaste thing, right? The divine in me sees the divine in you. She saw beyond the facade of the anger, the mood, the demeanor of the troll, and saw the heart, a divine heart, a creature who was hurting. And so was able to show compassion because she knew her own heart. And so by doing so, not only did she free Troll from all of that anger and hurt that was holding him here, she also, through compassion, opened the gate for all the woodland creatures to approach Great Spirit. And so it's a reminder to you to seek your own grace. Trying to think of how to put this into words. It's like when that inner critic comes up, right? That's the troll. and it's scary and it's hurtful, and we try to either run away from it, or like there's so many things out there to say, fight your demons, you have to fight your demons. But that demon coming up is just a younger version of you that wasn't allowed to feel those particular feelings. And so by seeing through that facade of the inner demon, of this troll threatening you, if you can look with the eyes of your heart and witness your younger self who is in pain, who was, held back from feeling anger or hurt or pain or whatever the feeling is, and give her permission to feel that, and you might end up like voicing for her or writing down for her, giving her a way to express herself that she wasn't allowed to originally. And that is what helps move that energy, moves that emotion out so that you can heal that part. And so it's like giving yourself the benefit of the doubt. Remember that you have never done anything wrong. That you, no matter what the world has told you, no matter what you have thought of yourself, that you are whole, you are perfect, like Mr. Rogers says, and you are divine by nature. And so it's about recognizing that innocence, that childlike wonder, and approaching life with curiosity rather than, both fists ready to punch out anything that rivals you, right? And so remember when those feelings, when old issues come up, that number one, they're coming up to be released. They're not coming up to punish you. They're not coming up to put you in your place or humiliate you. They're coming up because they're ready to be released. Because you have raised your frequency to a point where these lower frequency things, there's no place for them in your energy field. So they are being pushed out, and they have to come through your consciousness. So you're going to be conscious of these old patterns, these old thoughts. But when you can recognize them as such, to see through those big Bambi eyes, the eyes of wonder and innocence, to who you truly are underneath that boiling, thundering demon, you realize that all that's needed is love. There's nothing you need to fix. There's nothing you did wrong or that you need to atone for or redeem yourself for. You're already divine, you're already whole, and nothing can take that away from you. And so by looking through that eyes of divinity, namaste, even if you're looking at yourself, to see that divine heart, especially in your younger self, especially in that younger part of you who maybe wasn't allowed to be as innocent as she should have been, or was made to grow up faster than she should have, and so missed out on the idea of play and wonder. So allow yourself to play, allow yourself to be curious, allow that curiosity to draw you forward into new experiences and adventures and such. Okay? I just keep looking at her, and it's like this gentleness, this serenity, when you really know who you are. Does that make, oh, thank you, sir. I'm glad that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. I hope that is helpful. All right. So, Valerie, card number 4. You're welcome, Sarah. All right. Valerie. Oh, and I forgot to say, I was starting to say that, of course, this video is free, no obligations, but if you do get something from it and you wish to reciprocate or you wish to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, I do have my PayPal and Venmo links pinned to the top of the comments, and I am so grateful for any contributions you wish to make. Support me in my work so I can support you on your path. So I always forget to say that. I'm not real good at self-promotion, so I thought I'd better say that when it occurred to me. All right, Valerie. Another reverse card. Valerie, you got Weasel in reverse. Again, Weasel in reverse is basically that hamster wheel, that overthinking. It's like it's working from the mind rather than the heart. It's trying to figure out logistically every permutation of every step and how to take care of every contingency that might happen in every different direction that you may go in. And that is just exhausting. But at the same time, sometimes, you know, like a lot of times when I'm talking, it kind of sounds like talking in terms of duality, like good and bad, and like something's a mistake or something was a wrong turn or something. But really, there are no accidents. Everything has a purpose, right? Everything that needs to happen happens. And so even like you know, the weasel in reverse, the overthinking, the hamster wheel, there's purpose to that. And it's, you know, like with the rabbit, like another thing with rabbit that came up earlier for Tammy. Rabbit is like opportunity, especially reverse. It's like, okay, there's an opportunity here to shift and transmute the energy, like here with Weasel, that's just spinning its wheels, and actually be able to make real progress. And so Weasel is also about intuition. So in reverse, it's kind of a not trusting your intuition, not trusting your guidance as much as you could. I'm not going to say it's not a black and white thing like you don't trust it at all, but it's about surrendering. Like I was talking about my car earlier, or the case with my coworker. It's like you have to set that goal like I've been talking about with everyone else so far tonight. And then you have to surrender and allow the path to reveal itself. And it's really about trusting the heart, right? Because your mind is going to go down every possible path and every possible branch off of every possible path in order to protect yourself, in order to prepare yourself for every contingency. And that's like survival mode. And we want to get out of survival mode and come back into the heart. Because, like I said before, the mind is programmed to divide things, to discern. That's the word I'm looking for. The mind separates. The mind discerns between things, right? And so the mind is our tool in practical reality to keep us going toward our goals and to keep us from walking into walls, to make sure we know the difference between a doorway and a wall. But your heart is what guides you. Your heart knows, because your heart sees everything as one. Your heart sees the connection of everything. The heart, it's like the mind is analog and the heart is quantum. It's like your heart is connected. Your heart's the internet. It's connected to everything. You just have to put in that request and boom, the answers pop up. Rather than having to do the footwork physically and figure out every single path. Like I have a friend, our friend Kathy, who is also an amazing shaman. I'm trying to learn from her. I'm trying to take a note from her because she's as bad at marketing as I am. And so instead of spending time figuring out promotions and figuring out how to get her name out there and how to get more clients, she sits every morning with her rattle and she manifests and she calls in her guides and the guides of all those she has helped and calls in whatever their family members to help that might use her help, and she sits and aligns and calls it forth rather than doing the footwork and the time to create flyers and promotions and all these kind of things. And it keeps her in just like every other self-employment, it's up and down, but for the most part, she keeps pretty steady employment, pretty steady income, doing it that way because she's working in the unseen realms rather than just the analog, physical, logistical things. And that's what a shaman does, and that's what the spiritual path is about. It's about working in the unseen, in the invisible realms, to affect the visible realms. So, it might be time to do another vision board, to give yourself those physical cues, visual things to remind you of who you are, number one, and where you're headed. And that will help calm that weasel, the weasel who's got this high metabolism that can't stop moving and has to keep going and going and going. By having that, basically a roadmap will help calm that weasel, help focus that scattered energy. And just think, if you took all the energy that goes into thoughts of fear or worry or catastrophe or whatever, if you gathered all of that energy together and pointed them in one direction, just think about how powerful you would be. Think about how fast you would manifest things and how quickly your life would turn around, and you'd end up getting things you didn't even know were part of the path, right? So maybe like my recommendation is spend some time meditating, spend some time doing like vision boarding, or creative visualization, figure out what it is, write or draw or paint, what it is. Again, like with Tammy, with the rabbit, focus on what you want, not on all the different what ifs and possibilities and the things that you're afraid are going to happen. Focus on what you want to happen. Okay? I'm glad that makes sense. All right, card number 5. We only got 5 people tonight. I'm trying to remember if other summer times were kind of slower and then it picks up again in winter or what. But Anna, you are next. Card number 5. Another one in reverse. You're welcome, Valerie. So Anna, card number 5 is Otter in reverse. So just think about it. We've had 5 cards all facing the same way, right? Law of averages, there should have been at least 1, if not 2 cards facing the other way. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Thanks, Tammy. I'll check my settings and make sure it's going out to. Well, it does say up on top here, public. I've got it set to public, so it should be going out to everyone. But thank you. Thanks for the heads up. So Anna, Otter in reverse. I empathize with reverse otter medicine, reverse otter, because it feels like things lately have not been smooth. They have not been flowing. Things, like I said, my car is acting up, my laptop is acting up. Things that normally just flow and fall into place, it's been more like pulling teeth or something. It's been this kind of like a ratchet, how it's like, you have to go forward, then backward, then forward, then backward, then forward. And it's like it has been like someone trying to learn how to drive a stick shift. Is the way it is, like this, boom, 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 stop and start and bopping around. And if that's the way it's been for you, just hang in there, okay? You're just going through some rapids, right? It's like you didn't sign up for the whitewater rafting tour, but that's what you're getting. But the river will smooth out and calm down again. Okay? Another thing about Otter she really is kind of the presence of the divine feminine. And she's everything, like, she's inclusive. She's all about community. She's about the flow, going with the flow rather than fighting the current, right? And she's feisty. They open armedly. Is that a word? Armedly. They greet any creature with open arms. They don't know any natural predators. They don't recognize natural predators. But so they greet everyone as family until proven otherwise. And the thing is, if you mess with one otter, you're taking on the entire tribe. And so there's a sense of the word inclusivity, it keeps popping back. And so it's like, might be a time to question, is there something you're leaving out? Is there someone you're leaving out? Is there, what is it? What is it that is interrupting the natural smooth flow of the river? Is there something that's kind of fallen in your path and is backing up the water, or are you trying to, like Abraham Hicks talks about, how there's nothing upriver that you need. Everything you need is downriver. So quit trying to row against the current to get back upriver. Stow those oars and allow the river to carry you where you need to go. And so, is there something that's kind of acting like an anchor that's keeping you from flowing? Is there some fear or pattern? Like a fear of worthiness or a feeling of unworthiness or something like that, that might be interrupting that flow. Like the whole thing, that Taoist idea that you can't grasp water, that you can only hold water with open hands, right? And so if we are closed off, if we're closing ourselves off from something, if we're holding on to something, saying, I'm not worthy, or who am I to be great, then our hearts are closed and we can't open them to receive what we actually deserve. And so again, similar to the last one with Valerie, it's kind of similar to the weasel in that it's like trying to mentally force the issue or mentally subdue something rather than just moving back into the heart and allowing things to unfold. Trusting the universe, that the universe knows what it's doing, that the universe is so vast and has such a vision of possibilities, that the universe knows exactly the best way to get you where you're going or to help you become who you are becoming. And so there's like a need to, again, surrendering. This is something that's come up for me recently and for other people I've been reading for synchronistically, but it's kind of like that fear of success. It's like we set our motion going toward our goals, and then all of a sudden we start realizing, oh my God, it's going to happen. I'm getting closer to it. But what if I don't like who I am when I become that? Or what if I lose part of myself in order to become that, right? And the thing is, you're whatever that is you're becoming is already who you are. It's just being uncovered. And anything that needs to be released in order to become that is not part of you anyway. So it's kind of one of those nonsensical kind of koan, like Japanese koans about like if God is all powerful, can he create a boulder that's too heavy for him to lift? Or something like that. It's kind of like we're tripping ourselves up with logic, and there's nothing to worry about. Because anything, if you're becoming more and more authentic to who you truly are, you can't lose anything that is essentially you. And anything that is lost, that is shed, wasn't really you in the first place. So it's kind of about that embracing the unknown in some ways and just trusting that flow. Trusting the flow, not just of water, the river, but of time, and the flow of energy like electricity, and the flow, trusting that the river does, ultimately every river flows to the ocean. Ultimately, where you are headed is home. And it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. It doesn't matter how many obstacles you put in the way. Eventually, you are going to reach the ocean. You are going to get home. And so there is no judgment. There is no good or bad or poor me or any of that stuff. And it's just a matter of opening up and surrendering and allowing what is meant to happen in its real true timing for that experience to flow. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, Anna. Yeah. But it's kind of that like, I want to become this, and then, or like for me, like at one point I wanted to be a country singer in Nashville, and I no longer have that dream necessarily, but it'd be like, all of a sudden, like at one point I'm thinking like, oh my God, that means like, if like fame and fortune and all those kind of things, and the prices that come with it, and could I really handle it, and what if I forget about the little people and family and such, that don't worry about any of that crap, because if it is destined, if it is truly, we are in a process of shedding everything that is not us, so that we can reveal the part of us that is true, that is underneath all of that. And so there is nothing to worry about. Again, it's like God, all-powerful, so that he can create a rock that is too heavy for him to lift. And again, that's the hamster wheel going round and round. It's like, well, but he's all powerful, so he should be able to create anything, which includes something that's too big for him to carry. But then he's all powerful, so it might be, he might think for a moment that it's too heavy, but then he remembers he's God, and then shoop, he can lift it. And don't get caught in the logistics and the logic, and the mind will take you, it's a labyrinth, and it will take you down all these shadowed hallways and get you lost. But your heart always knows where you are, and your heart always knows the truth. Okay? So that is it for tonight, I guess. I only had five cards, but that's fine, because I think, notice my hair's been getting, I feel like I'm just sitting here sweating. It's kind of pointless to try to even get cleaned up for this video. But anyway, so I'm going to pull one more card for the community, the communal card for everyone, whether you got a personal card or not. And remember that on Wednesday nights, I don't promote it too much, but besides this video I do every Monday night, I do a video every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And that is the Sacred Pipe Ceremony, the Lakota Sacred Pipe. And especially with things that are so crazy in the world, in politics, and in our country and all over the globe. I started doing it during the pandemic to hold space for people, at least for an hour a week, when they could let go of the world and tune into spirit, to align. And it's becoming kind of more like that again, where I'm realizing the importance of that. And so if you need some moment of stillness, of serenity, of connection, please tune in at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, right here on my Facebook page, and also on my Perching Wolf Studios YouTube channel. I've got over 4 years worth of those videos. So if you ever feel the need to just to calm, to sit in silence, to have someone hold space for you, the energy of those ceremonies is just as vital the 100th time you watch it as the first time. And as like 10 years down the line, that energy is just as vital as it is when it was live. So, and on that note, I actually, last week, I did a special pipe ceremony on the 4th of July, and it's a long one. It's about an hour and a half, which this video is tending to be. But I talked for about an hour or so about different things on like what's going on in the world and how to reclaim our own personal power. And then I did the ceremony, and in the ceremony, my guides had me do a guided meditation that turned out to be really powerful. I heard from someone who was watching it live that their hands were tingling, were like on fire the whole time, and that even after the fact they were still buzzing. And so I highly recommend that. It's on my Facebook page. I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet, but it was the one I did on the 4th of July. And if you don't want to hear me rambling, you can fast forward like the 50 minutes or hour ahead, whatever it is, when I do the ceremony and then the guided meditation. But when I do those things, I don't pre-plan things. I don't figure out beforehand what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. It really is kind of channeled and comes from spirit. And so I'm not like blowing my own horn here. I'm just like, it helped me. I was like, I got done like, holy crap, that was powerful. And I don't even remember what all I said. So anyway, check that out if you feel the need to call back your own energy, your own power, and not get caught, not get lost in the confusing miasma of the world, everything going on right now. So, all right. And so I announced, oh, thanks, Valerie. My rambling was wonderful. I always feel like I'm boring people, but there are usually a few good nuggets of wisdom that come through. So originally I wasn't going to do one on this coming Wednesday because like I said at the beginning, I was supposed to do a sweat lodge on Wednesday, but it got canceled, and I'm basically in a sweat lodge as we speak right here. So I will be doing that Wednesday night. And check out my Facebook, check out my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. That helps other people find my stuff. And I'm also available if you enjoyed this little sampling and you would like a full reading or a shamanic healing, or if you're in the market for a shamanic teacher, if you've been wanting to focus on your spiritual or shamanic path, I do mentor people one-on-one. So that is always an option. And you can check that out on my website, perchingwolfstudios.net. And I also I'm a cartoonist. I've got graphic novels available. I've got a few different blogs you can read, different things. I'm going to try to stay up to date more on my blogs coming up. But let's pull one more card. Ha ha! So, please watch my video from the 4th of July if you can, or if it feels, I don't want to goad you into it, but if it feels right, if you're curious, it will help to bring you back to center and not caught in the whirlwinds of the world. You know, I was at a shamanic gathering a couple weekends ago, and we were doing some journey work, and I had a vision. My grandmother bear that I work with came to me in a journey, and she said not to let the cacophony of the world right now dissuade you or to scare you. And she basically reached in and opened her chest, opened like her full front, and became a cave. And of course the cave is the womb of the mother, like the bear going into the cave to dream and to rest. And she said, all of these things that are happening, all the things on the news, it's like everyone is trying to figure out their own timelines and their own futures. And meanwhile, we're sitting here observing this, trying to make it all into one future, and people are freaking out. I was freaking out. I was going into depression a little bit, and kind of like, oh my God, what's happening? But like my grandmother bear said, don't worry. All of it is happening in the dream time. None of it is physically manifested yet. And so again, the message from tonight, focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Don't focus on the rumors of war, and focus on the world that you want to wake up to. Focus on the world that you want to find, because you are powerful. And, you know, if you're watching this, chances are you've been doing your work. You know about manifesting. You know about changing your reality. And the thing is, if you can do it on the small scale, the bigger scale just follows through. Because the universe wants what is for your highest good. And if you can change your world to attract the people or the finances or whatever to support your authenticity, that same universe wants to create the world that best supports that world that you are creating. And so it's kind of that idea of think globally, act locally. Manifest what you want, what you need for your highest and best expression, your highest vibrational timeline, and trust that the rest is going to follow through. Don't keep rowing against the current. Allow the river to take you where it's going, because it's leading us home. It's leading us to these vistas that we cannot even imagine the beauty of. Okay? So that's my message for tonight. I hope you will join me again next week. Bring your friends. Please share this video. Oh, and I'm also trying to gather more testimonials. So if you enjoy these videos, if you've had classes with me that you got something out, if you've had readings with me that were spectacular, please, you can go on my Facebook page, and I think there's a place there where you can do testimonials and rate me. Or you can email me or private message me, and I can post it on my website. I'm trying to do some of that marketing things that I was talking about earlier. So that would be a great help to me. And please, please, please share the video. Share this video. Let it go far and wide. And I hope it was helpful for you. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. So have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right. Bye for now.